Right, so this is a long overdue message in regards to a special gentleman called Paul Winner. I was shocked to find out last year, 2021, 2020 period, that he died in 2019. It took me a while to find out about this because when we met around 2012, 2011, during the last years of my university participation. Um, and what I used to happen is his birthday, we used to meet up, or I used to send him a message. He used to respond, obviously. And around 2019, he stopped replying. Um, Obviously, I was not aware that he passed away. Maybe until a year later, almost 2 years later, actually. So, but I still send him a message. I'd send him a message every now and then, and I'd send a happy birthday message, but then no responses from email. Email stopped working. Obviously, no responses from text. Eventually, I actually saw the obituary online, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's died. Which is why he's not responding to me anymore. So I was really keen to pay my respects in a way, but also just generally talk about the guy. He was a really interesting man, and you walk through life, you meet different types of people, and he was the kind of person that I think he had a good heart, and he touched, regardless of his situation, I don't know huge amounts about him. I met his wife, Mary. I went to their home, which was lovely to see them, and it was an interesting time and period for me in my life as well, because I think one of the things, Paul did some lovely things for me, and it's funny because there were things that didn't require money, but he made the effort to do them, and that's why I've been keen to do this video, so that they're not forgotten. Paul set up the European Life Settlement Association, and I was looking at the time at modelling secondary markets for life settlements, so insurance policies. Long story short, keeping it simple, I was really confused about how someone could pay their entire life into a life insurance policy and then suddenly not be able to afford a premium or a payment because they, let's say, had to cover the cost because they got ill, and not receive their life insurance policy when they died. It seemed a bit like a scam, to be honest. And the life settlement industry was trying to look at, well, actually that life insurance policy has value. If the person that owns a life insurance policy is close to death or wants to sell it, they should be able to at fair value, and the market is rigged to insurance companies' favour, so they can't. That was essentially what I was looking at in my dissertation, looking at could a secondary market be created for that. So that obviously led to me, I was researching longevity and mortality risk. Long story short, that's how me and Paul kind of bumped into each other, because there was a link between what he was doing and what I was studying. And yeah, so that was kind of how it started. But it was one of the things, a few things that really stood out about Paul to me, which he always had this little sketchbook. He loved doing his little sketches. I remember once I was sat just talking, and I was like, "What you did?" And he was drawing me. This made me laugh so much. He had this really amazing personality. You could be in a room and he would not even necessarily just own the room, but he's very charming and charismatic. That's what I'd say. Really naturally charming and charismatic, and you could tell, he was a bit flirtatious, not in a bad, but a really charming, cute way. And I really admired him. Actually, I really did admire him, and that's one of the reasons why. It's obviously a bit of an age gap at the time as well, but I appreciated him taking the time to speak with me and to talk to me, and obviously he was driven on, I think, making his mark and doing things that had a positive impact, and I really appreciate that he spent the time to talk to me. Now, there's a few things that Paul did for me, which I really appreciate. One is Paul gave me my first reference for work, proper work, not an internship, a proper job. My first job, which was as a risk analyst for Lloyd's TSB at the time, and I remember he gave me such a blazing review that they almost couldn't afford not to hire me. And I really appreciated that. It's rare. I asked quite a few people for help, and I got help from him. And I've always appreciated it. It set me off, and based on that work that I did, ironically, it set me off on the path that I've gone through now. But that actually wasn't the the only thing Paul has done. One of the things Paul did for me, and it wasn't just Paul, there was another guy called, another person as well, but Paul was the first person that really confirmed this for me, was Paul opened my eyes to an issue that I've been having along the lines, and I think a lot of men, a lot of people have, especially if you haven't got a father figure in your life that can kind of show you what your potential is. Paul highlighted the fact that I had impotent dreams, is the way I'd say it, and that my ambitions were limited to what I believed I could do. And it was the first person that gave me an idea that I could achieve far more than I'd originally believed possible for myself. And it's something that, and like the confidence to sort of stand out in a crowd and brush it off like it doesn't even matter, and not be shy, I think was something I saw in him and wanted to reflect more on myself, and I hope I've taken some of those elements away from him. So yeah, I don't want to go ranting or talking about it too much. He was a good guy. One thing he always used to say was, or he was trying to work on, was sort of having what he referred to as this twinkle factor. And I think he was trying to capture, there's a twinkle in people's eyes that is this goodness or this light that he wanted to bring out of everyone. Everyone had this twinkle that he could see, and he wanted that to shine out on the world. And I hope that at the very least, through what I'm building, through our network, through the Causevest Network, and the work we're trying to do there, we can kind of bring that same twinkle into the world. So I just want to say, to Paul's loved ones, families, to the memory that he left behind, he was a wonderful man, and it was a blessing to have been able to know him during that time.